Well, hello, hello.
Hey, party people. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to LinkedIn Unlocked with your host, Christina. She's joined by me and Steve and party people in the room. We've got Greg Hawkes today.
The G-Man. One of the G-men of sourcing. There are several. You know who the other G-men of sourcing are?
You too.
No.
What is G? What do you mean by G-man?
Glenn Guttmacher.
Starts with a G. Okay, got it.
My name starts with a G.
Am I having?
Hi. Nice to see everybody.
Yeah, that's it. That's it, party people. So to get us kicked off today, I'm going to be sharing hosting responsibilities with Christina.
Thank you.
Christina is a little under the weather today. If we could see a little bit of love for Christina in the chat, that would be awesome because we want her to be feeling at 100%. Talking about 100%, we are coming at you live at 100% today. We're ready to rock and roll with everyone. Where do I come up with this stuff, Steve?
I'm wondering. You know what it is, Brian? Yes, that's one reason, but the other reason is you are wearing your Power Pink presentation shirt.
I said it's off red. You didn't get the memo, but you got the red up here.
I wouldn't wear a red shirt anyway.
Why?
It's not my. It clashes. It clashes with the roadmaps on my face and forehead.
I like that roadmaps. That's what I'm going to start calling them when Allie's like, "Let's get some Botox, babe."
Well, Leslie's already getting it. So,
I mean, I don't look 24 for no reason. Okay, guys. And just for the audience, I am not 24. Let me just put that disclaimer. But yeah. So Greg here with us. I want to introduce you to Greg. Greg, why I let you introduce yourself? I kind of
actually I have another idea. Brian, do you remember the first time you met Greg?
Dude, I totally fanboyed on Greg at SourceCon right before a certain someone got on the stage and told Indeed, a platinum sponsor of SourceCon, that they were going to go the way of the dinosaurs.
I remember that one, and I shall not mention the person's name, but oh boy, did we have a chat about that after.
Yeah.
Wasn't Indeed the sponsor that year too?
Yes, they were.
Yeah, they were a sponsor.
They were a major sponsor. And the irony is, you know, I've also worked there, so I know everybody there. So that was a better call Mako type of moment. With Greg, you know,
I use Indeed daily. I mean,
I still love Indeed.
No, Greg, ZipRecruiter.
Let me just say one thing. Have you guys? I know this is LinkedIn Unlocked, but to this episode we have Greg, and we're going to be going a little bit in and out of LinkedIn.
We're going to unlock LinkedIn and go behind the door.
Yes, and look at. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, Greg. I don't know if you've noticed this, but if you go on to Glassdoor, you'll see that Glassdoor and Fishbowl are in bed together.
That is way too salacious for me.
Where did Greg go?
Greg is back. He wanted to get off the stage for a second, then he wanted to come back.
I'm right here.
Greg is it?
No,
one thing I know about Greg. No, Greg, you are a tinkerer.
I'm a tinkerer.
You know you are. He's a tinkerer, not a tinkler, but a tinkerer.
Mm-hmm.
I
I'm
have vague memories.
With the audio, so I'm trying to fix it.
Okay, you go ahead and do that. I'll introduce you then.
But Greg, what I remember of Greg is when he first started getting involved in the hackathons, and it was invariably a Final Four of almost with some exceptions like Greg,
Susanna,
Sarah Goldberg, Susanna, Ben. And a couple of other people thrown in there,
Ben?
Yeah, Pete and I were knocked out in the previous round, so it's
But what's funny is because when we used to write the hackathon questions, not necessarily to to create the hardest possible questions, but to write questions that required you to really think about things, not overthink, but think. There really is a fine line, and it sounds controversial. There's a fine line between the two of those. And I remember watching, steam come out of all their ears, and I'm beside them going, "Stop overthinking! Stop overthinking! Stop overthinking!" And Greg, you remember that, and but that's afterwards we when we finally got a chance to discuss what the problems were, what the solutions were, we had a good laugh over that. But Greg's always been a complete savior and fan of the community, and has always been the kind of person who's done anything, anytime, anywhere for anyone.
We love that, and we all want to win, and we can all win. And I'm ready to introduce you.
Though, they asked me a question about like something I was actually recruiting for, which was biotechnology scientist. I think it was ADME, psychokinetic type of stuff. And I was actually recruiting for something like that. I'm like, well, I already done the search. I already know how to find those people. And I think another question was like around like the guys that climb up on the wires. What are they called? That really stumped everybody. It was a slang type of word, like like I don't remember what it was called, but it threw a lot of people off. It was like it was more of like a slang term that they would call these guys that climb up the electric
the power transmission
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
cool.
But it was fun.
Yeah, and it like maintenance folks, those line workers, those are harder to find than engineered a lot of times. So you have to know the lingo too. So
actually, one thing, as we're talking about the lingo and as we're talking about SourceCon and the hackathon, I think it's imperative for us to shout out just really quickly. Greg, you will be at SourceCon April 9th to the 10th in Orlando, Florida. Is that correct?
I will. I'll be talking about a lot of this stuff. I keep adding more to the presentation, but I mean it's because a lot of people nowadays they want the answers right away. They don't go out and find these websites because like there's websites out there that have been out there for years that you can scrape, that you can utilize. You can download complete Excel files from like boards of engineering and stuff like that, and people don't realize it. Like when I worked in healthcare, there's every private practice doctor or physician has to have like an NPI number. There's directories of that has their contact information, that has where they work, emails, and same for like HVAC engineers and contractors. I mean, they want to be found because they run their own business a lot of times, and especially when you can't find work, they'll go work at a corporation where they can get a retirement package and stuff like that. So so I mean, so people are getting easier and easier to find, and I didn't even mention TikTok. TikTok is just I can't believe more people don't utilize TikTok. But
I am so excited. I can't explain how excited. Brian knows. I have been harping on TikTok for months. It's probably been a year now.
2 weeks.
And
2 weeks.
Well, in total?
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
No, let me show you something. No. Let me show you something because I literally had this conversation with my boss the other day. So I'm going to show you, and hopefully it won't run the screen.
Okay, before you do, I just know that I have some people in the audience that do not know who you are. And I want to go ahead and just give the first rundown.
Okay, 4 and 1.
Go.
So Greg Hawks he's the principal sourcing leader at M&T Bank, creator and founder of Sourcing in Real Life, which he's going to show us a little bit about, HR Sourcing Toolbox, Healthcare Sourcing Toolbox, and ongoing speaker and contributor for SourceCon, like we said. So in today's show, we have a few things we want to talk about. I'm going to just go through a run through really quick. And basically throughout this, Brian is going to help me get through with the hosting, but we have a few really important topics. And if I interrupt or that I'm just trying to make sure that we cover all the ground. So we're looking at talking with Greg about Notion for content and how he uses it with the personal projects, his use of AI in everyday use. I know we all love AI or hate it. So we want to talk to him about how he uses it in his everyday use, as well as in search tools and sourcing specifically, demystifying AI. And then we're going to go through sourcing beyond LinkedIn, multi-channel recruitment, which will include TikTok. So and then automation tools, patents, stuff like that. So I'm going to let you guys go, but if you don't touch on something like TikTok, I'm going to interrupt to get you.
Well, why don't we knock out TikTok first?
Yeah, please, let's do it. I'm so excited for TikTok. Oh, Steve.
I love TikTok.
I love TikTok.
Sorry.
I don't know, Greg, if you have seen.
Yeah, but it always plays music, so sorry about that.
It's okay. I didn't hear music. I was trying to tell Brian about how you can actually build and offer training in series on TikTok. And I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of LinkedIn creators to take their content, like Steve, you're the courageous recruiter, right? Courageous. Remember when you walked me through that?
Courageous sourcer.
Courageous sourcer. I use them interchangeably, which I know you guys.
Oh, that is a big negative,
Okay.
Ghost Rider.
Sorry, not sorry. You could essentially take that presentation, cut it up into bite-sized, which is what the people want. We're in the 2024. I'm saying is micro learning. We want to do it fast. You could chop that up and offer it on TikTok. Just saying.
Won't happen.
Absolutely. Yep. And that's basically what I do with a lot of my sourcing videos. Is I'll have a concept, I'll make a quick video, and then I'll do a live stream about it. So I'm in the process of talking about of doing something like that for you.com. I made TikToks are a lot easier to make, but unfortunately, I've got a day job to do too. So being a content creator, it can be difficult. But TikTok is a super active platform. There's a huge audience that people just don't understand how big TikTok is an audience for. And the thing is, like everybody's on it. I was talking to my boss literally the other day about like hiring loan officers. Well, and I told her, have you looked on TikTok? Have you put in loan officer in your TikTok search and looked at that? Because we're looking for a wide area like East Coast. They are all over TikTok. There's all kinds of people making content about that. And so always try it first, and always sorry about if you can hear the music. Stop playing. Stop it. Stop.
We don't hear your music. Do you guys?
Sorry, everything is
I don't hear the music. I want to start singing to it. I'm like,
I just hear Greg's melodious voice. That's the only thing I hear.
Steve, I'm going to sing to you. If ever you're in my arms again, this time I'll love you
because
much better.
And I will always
Don't make me get into it. Are you, Greg, having?
It always plays by default, and so it's very distracting when I'm talking. Am I what?
Are you having trouble with the TikTok?
Yeah, let's share the screen and we'll deal with the music. We'll sing along.
Well,
yeah.
We'll do some Celine
I'm
Dion.
having some trouble with the audio, but that's fine.
I doubt Celine
you
Dion
don't
is
need
one
to
of the
sing along.
TikTok
Oh,
viral
I'm
songs.
sure she loves TikTok.
No, but look.
Here we go.
So
Here
let me
we
know
go.
when you can see my screen.
We can see it.
We can see it.
I just want
Okay.
before you go, can
So-
we have everybody in
if
the
I just put
chat?
in loan officer, okay, like
I
And
don't
of
think a lot
course-
of people know that TikTok you can use on your desktop.
Yes, you can. And you know,
Yes.
you know what I noticed right away, Greg, from your search, because great sources recognize patterns. Is there?
I'm not even signed in.
The interesting thing that I see to the throngs here, I may not necessarily see loan officer, but I also see NMLS.
Hmm.
So I see all their certifications,
Yep.
and so that means you can build a search string to
Yeah.
get all of the above.
So if I was to go, so if I was to go to videos, you can click on these tabs and it'll bring up videos. Usually when I'm signed in, you see the top people.
Why don't you share your TikTok handle
see if I can
for
sign in
those in the
I
audience who use TikTok?
think I am.
Greg's TikTok handle is sourcing
Twitter.
IRL, and that's where he can be found
For
everywhere.
sourcing marketing content. I told my boss, like, I'm gonna make a loan officer. Oh gosh, okay. Let me see if I can just get on somehow. I told my boss I was just gonna make a loan officer hiring video because there's so many people on it, and we have such a wide area that we're looking for.
You could do, Greg, with
I
that,
mean,
and I'm
you can
sure
search for anything. You can search for mechanics. You can search for what else? Recruiters. I mean, when I'm hiring recruiters, when we were hiring recruiters last year, I would just make a recruiting video.
You can find
Say, hey,
anybody.
And next day we had. I mean, it doesn't have to be go out and find them specifically and headhunt them. It's send out a message to the audience, have them come to you. It's like a job posting.
I think we're having a little bit of audio issues.
Understatement. We are.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure it wasn't just me and
Nope.
my sometimes sketchy internet. With that being said, if you're a job seeker and you're interviewing with a company, you can get a lot of information that half the time your hiring managers or the interviewers aren't even aware is out there. And it's because not everybody has really bought into the TikTok. And I have, and a lot of other people like Greg have. And you can stand out using information you find out about companies simply just by looking up the company name. And that's information from people that are not, some of them are internal employees. Some of them are people that are just passionate about the company and what they do. And you get a diverse perspective. So you can use it for interviewing. You can use it for sourcing. You can use it for affiliate marketing. There's a ton of ways I use it, but
Greg, is there a way you can reduce your cache size? If there are other things that are running in the background that are slogging up memory?
Just because StreamYard
You might have lost Greg.
streams to several different places, and it can cut in and out.
So can we have, and if you're in the audience, can you, post to the chat, let us know where you're tuning in from. If you want a summary of this, put that in the chat, write summary. I will personally send it to you. I know we're bouncing all over the place, but I wanted to make sure I got that out. I wanted to let everybody know that my really good friend Brian Fink has a book coming out. I don't know how he does so many books, but this
it's only
man
book
writes.
number 2. It's not like it's my 23rd.
So it's coming out the 17th, available on Amazon. Do you have a picture, or do you have one? Do you have anything you can show to tease?
Okay, so real quick about the book, Maddie took the author copies of the book to school today for show and tell. She's very excited. She wrote a song about the book. If she were here and not in school, maybe she would sing it. I'm not going to try to sing it because singing as a 7-year-old is not cute for Brian. But the name of the book is The Main Thing is the Main Thing. And it's really about trying to isolate yourself from the distractions of everyday life so that you can be empowered to do more, to deliver more for yourself. That's you need to put yourself at the center of everything that you do and then build your legacy from there.
Love that. Love that. And I will be purchasing on January 17th. You have a hard copy, a paper copy, and a Kindle, right? Available?
No, I'm only doing Kindle and paperback. I thought that it was prohibited. I really wanted to get the message out there. I'm only doing paperback and Kindle because I wanted to get the message out there at close to cost as possible for individuals. And I just looking back at the data, and I think that Steve and Greg and I and you as well are all data-driven individuals. And when I looked at the first book, my first book, Talk Tech to Me, actually did better in paperback than in either of the other formats. So I wanted to make sure that I offered it there, and that I made sure that I put in that maximum amount of value at where everybody could go and get it quickly. Yep.
Okay. All right. So no hard copy. I'm a little bit upset about that because I do love to have a hard copy, but that's okay. Paperback is great for everybody. And if that's what the data shows, that's what the data shows. So we want to go in that direction. So
real quick, one of the people who's tuning in, we've got a lot of people tuning in from Toronto, which I think is great.
Awesome.
And they want a summary, but we've also got somebody who's asking, how do we source for battery manufacturing engineers? And you know, I know we said we were going to use TikTok. I wonder, are there battery manufacturing engineers on TikTok? Are they on Instagram? Are they on Slack groups?
Well,
who might they be?
I would.
Well, the first thing I would do is just ask Google. It's battery operators, right? So
Battery
manufacturing engineers.
By research. Battery manufacturing engineers. That sounds like man.
I mean, as the engineering group, I'm almost 100% certain that they may be called manufacturing engineers with the word battery somewhere. Batteries or cells or things of that nature.
So when I tried to share my screen just now, it basically stopped the stream. So have you guys shared your screen previously?
Yep, Brian and Steve have.
Okay, what if you guys share your screen and let's look on Google, because it slows my feed down too much, I think. So that's one of the things I love about streaming is you never know what's going to happen. So battery manufacturing engineers, just do a straight Google search for it. If somebody wants to share the screen, just do a straight Google search.
Sure, I'll let me do it here. Give me a moment.
Because Steve and I do this all the time. Is that we'll take a concept, look it up, see what sites come up, because a lot of times like these will come up on Board of Engineering. So Steve, if you wouldn't mind driving, because I'm
doing it right now. Can you all see my screen?
Battery manufacturing.
I was gonna say this role is similar to a lot of the background that I have as far as like automotive, automation, recruiting, and skilled trades. And I saw Ford Motor Company come up and.
But look, hold.
So
Christina, hold on a second. Just Greg,
your competitors right there.
Yeah. So
those
you
are your
have
competitors right there. You've got
and but you also see that it's saying again, manufacturing engineer,
Yep.
battery. What you want to do when you do searches like this is look for the the common phrases in all things, and then use the modifiers for other things. And
yep.
so
And
I'm going
scroll
to scroll
down.
down I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and obviously I'm seeing some of the jobs things. But here's what I want to do first. I'm looking for example manufacturing engineer. You see that's the title,
Panasonic.
manufacturing
Yep.
job. But here's what I want to do first. There are a whole slew of potential competitors, but what I want to do as a sourcer is I want to remove some of the terminology, and this is not all of it. That may or may be there.
So
Yeah, we want to take out
in that,
jobs.
we're doing an X-ray search here where he's making sure that URLs are not.
But then what I'm going to do is, because and Greg and Brian have seen me do this. You know what? I'm gonna do something a little further upstream. I'm going to look for manufacturing engineer. I'm going to look for. I always like conferences and associations as part of the algorithm first.
You were the master of finding conference lists.
And so here we have things like the battery
I look
show.
for speaker lists and attendee lists too. So
yeah, and it's the same thing. And they know this. So I'm seeing right away
the Battery and Electrification Summit.
We have seminar, we have summit, we have high performance battery seminars, we have the battery and energy storage conference, and electric vehicle battery tech 2024.
Yeah.
So these give you a whole slew of things. And to Greg's point, you can also then, if you want to find speakers, you're going to add in URL attendees speakers, and let's see what it comes up with. It comes up with this. But here's, for example, speakers 2023, meet the attendees.
Look at that, 2023 batteries event.
Yeah, so I'm gonna click on that one. I'm looking at a part. This gives you a sense. You'll often see this. You see attendees and titles. This could be something that you could use to identify sources. But speakers, and I'm going to put it back to you after this, Greg. These are eventually. It's a pretty graphic. It's a lovely graphic. And here we are, the speakers. Now this is overseas.
In the comments, that would help people kind of understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, and I just want to pause for a second. This is where you were just speakerless. Love that, and there's a way to get that information out that I have learned from Brian. The Chrome extension, it's escaping my mind.
Instant data scraper.
And it's the coolest thing ever. If you're
Instant
into
data scraper, it's called Instant Data Scraper.
That one too. Yeah.
And
so Greg, let me see if I can get to TikTok and do a search to show that. You want me to do that?
I've already done a search on TikTok. It's okay. I put it in the comments. I mean, you can literally click on that and you can see videos of battery manufacturing engineers. Okay, and that's what I'm talking about. Is we've been searching this for years like this with site searches and stuff like that. I just entered straight keyword search, battery manufacturer engineer, and you're able to pull up people from all over the world. Okay, so if you weren't tied down by a location, this would be a great global tool. You can literally comment on these videos. You can go in the comments and see people that like this stuff. It is next level. It's where we're all heading eventually, but a lot of people just don't utilize it because they don't understand. They don't understand how it works or how to use it. So same thing with what is that new Instagram thing? Threads. Threads is the other thing. Threads is like Twitter.
What is that new Instagram thing?
And
Echo?
The Threads. It's called Threads. It's just like Twitter, except it's tied to Instagram and Facebook. You haven't heard of Threads?
Of course I have. I'm on Threads.
But Instant Data Scraper is the scraper that you were talking about. Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Greg.
It
quick
escapes
question.
me sometimes.
Hey, Greg, quick question for you. You talked about commenting on TikTok. Do you find that commenting on content that creates a dialogue between you and the candidate? How does that work?
Now I can't hear anyone.
Can you repeat that, Brian? I didn't hear that.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was asking, hey, Greg, when you talk about making a comment on content, how does that work to create a funnel to bring the candidate back to you?
Well, it's just like messaging somebody on Facebook or commenting somebody on Facebook. If you comment on their work and comment on some of the conversation, it starts building that relationship. I've actually talked to a lot of engineers that way, where I wouldn't even mention a job until a couple of conversations in.
Yep.
It's just a, especially cybersecurity is something that we hire for a lot, right? The reason I like talking to cybersecurity folks is because we use the same tools. OSINT tools is a big topic that we talk about. So if I talk to somebody and I see that they have a blog or a video or they've written an article, I will comment specifically on the article and say, hey, I saw what you wrote. It's pretty amazing. Oh, by the way, we're hiring for managers in the area. You're not looking for a job, are you, or something like that. So it's really just about building that conversation.
Yep.
and starting that relationship. It's not about stalking people, even though I do that on a regular basis. But yeah, a lot of times they'll put something out there. There's nothing wrong with commenting on it to tell them that you're a fan.
Yeah. Not at all. And we used to do that.
That's
we used
actually
to
the most organic way to start a conversation.
Yeah. And just as a point of reference, we used to do this with YouTube videos. The same thing. We used to ask, the people in our organization, what videos do you watch for this or that? And then we used to contact the people who did it. And I made several hires using that simple technique. Hey, so-and-so, I tag everybody in the email, loves your videos. You're a fan of yours. Here's swag. Great.
Christina, you want to jump in here? What do you got?
Nothing. I was just seeing in the chat
Absolutely.
that a lot of people are asking for the summary. And as much as I love just individually sending it to everybody, we have a website. And you can go to LinkedIn unlocked.live, put your email in there, and then it will be hugely effective for me to get the recording out to you guys as fast as possible. Otherwise, you can DM me, but we would love if you would subscribe on our website so that it makes it easier for me to dish out all the recordings to you guys.
Actually, you bring something up by talking about that. And I'm wondering if Steve could show us how to do this because I'm having trouble sharing my screen. Steve, is there a way to access names that populate into a Google form, i.e. a Google spreadsheet?
Yes, there is. And I know that there is, Brian, because you taught me that too.
Steve, do you want to drive on that one for a second and show people how to pull from Google Forms, or are we getting too sneaky today?
I think at this point it's a bit much. I think we should go back personally and go back on if not TikTok, then some other of the non-LinkedIn platforms.
Yeah. Okay. I agree. I think
sourcing. So what I think we can do for some of these things that we mentioned here in the chat, and this is thinking on the fly, is we can record very simple how-to videos and put them in our channel.
Yep. And I think that's a great idea.
That may be the better approach to things.
Yeah. So we'll come back to the TikTok at another time. We'll make sure to cover that and get you guys some bite-sized information. Let's go to AI, LinkedIn. There's been updates. There's been plenty of updates. I don't know, Greg, if there's any specifically that you want to talk to about how you're getting ahead in your not only sourcing, but in your content marketing, because you're similar to me in the multi-channel, driving of your content. So I've learned a few cool updates. I know that a lot of us have, but are there any that you'd like to highlight that the audience should know about?
Well, I mean, there's a lot going on with ChatGPT. It's now being incorporated into things like Bing, like things like U.com, which I did a short TikTok on a couple of days ago. A lot of these tools that we used for other searches are starting being incorporated with the AI. So it makes searching better. It makes searching easier. You can do things like I thought it was really cool on U.com. I wish I could show you this, but again, I'm having some issues with sharing. But you can use U.com to help write a LinkedIn post, to help write an essay. Would not recommend doing that for like students or anything like that, because there's software that can catch that. But if you're looking for a way to make like a witty LinkedIn post, it can help you write it, and you can adjust it accordingly. But I thought that was really cool because it's using natural language processing, which is what we typically use when we search Google, especially with the first when we started with this, and it's incorporating that in with this bot technology to help pull up profiles on anybody. So, Steve, can you go to U.com? Can you share screen?
I'm here right
U.com. I think I found what my issue was. Okay, and share your screen because I think I was streaming to too many places. That's why I was having it.
It's likely here going right now.
So I think that's corrected now. Yeah. So I can hear you guys a lot better now. So that was my fault. User error.
I am here. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
And and so this is new. So like literally search for anything. But let's look for electrical engineers, PLC engineers. Just put in PLC engineers and let's see what happens.
Ooh.
Okay.
Speaking my language.
And you can also use this to look for specific people. Like if we looked up Steve Levy or if we looked up Greg Hawkes, you would find a lot of different posts and articles and social profiles on these people. So
this is good.
A PLC engineer, right? So I was actually thinking about this the other day. I could actually use this to find a pipeline of people too. So look specifically for look for Greg Hawkes. Look for somebody specific. And I want to show you because I have a social footprint. If you're looking for put not the keyboardist from the Cars, because you pull the keyboardist from the Cars, not the musician. Super sorcerer, whatever.
Different one. Okay.
So what you do is it's using ChatGPT in this search to find Greg Hawkes. See, it still pulls the keyboardist for the Cars.
Hold on a second, Greg.
I almost kind of don't like that it shows the age.
Yeah, but you could get age-related information.
No,
I know.
So you have to ask it a different way. Look, go up to the very top. Go up to the very top, though.
I'm just curious here
because there's different tabs that you can utilize.
Yeah.
There should be other tabs you can use. Go back to the first start the first window. No, there you go.
Maybe look up Brian Fink.
There should be other tabs up there that you can use.
Don't look me up.
No, in this case, can one
look
person
up Brian
talk,
Fink.
please?
Sorry.
Do you have a U dot? Do you have a U dot?
I have
Do
an
you have a
account.
U.com account? Because that might be helpful.
I
That might
do.
be why I was able to see different stuff.
I do.
Look up yourself, dude.
Okay.
Because I'm a bad example because there's another famous Greg Hawks, somebody that's more famous than me. I'm just YouTube famous.
See, this is me.
What did he tell you?
What?
It has incidents.
True story.
Were you in the news?
I was many years ago. I've been in news.
So when I used it, you had a news.
Wait, go. I wasn't
So-
finished reading.
Let me pull it up. Let me see if I can pull it up on my computer because I think I have a.
Well, what would you like me to do? Greg
Yeah.
Hawks?
But use this for straight just people lookups because go to the main
Let's say for-
u.com. Click on
let's-
that u.com
let-
at the very top.
Okay.
Go up to the very top and click on you up at the very top left.
I did it. And I'm back
Yeah.
here now. I'm back.
Now
I'm at
search
the,
for. You see how it says, look for a specific person. Let's look for Brian Fink, TA.
Okay, I'm going to go GPT-4.
Yeah, click on that.
Okay.
That'll make your search much better. That's what I did. So with this stuff, sometimes I forget what I click on, but this should give you a much better search. Look at it. Then that is Brian. Brian, we're stalking you.
But unfortunately, they have not updated. You're still at
I'm still at the birdhouse. I'm still at the birdhouse, Steve.
Still in the birdhouse. In addition to his professional endeavors, Brink has been involved in speaking engagements, sharing his knowledge. He has been featured on America's Dance 30.
Well, okay. So remember, ChatGPT only pulls up to 2022. He was still there as of 2022, right? So it only pulls up to 2022.
Correct.
Because of the limitations.
I'm fascinated
But
part
if you keep
about
scrolling down,
the.
What's
Yeah,
that?
I'm fascinated about this part, the dance stuff.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I
Look
was
at
like,
his
wait,
LinkedIn
what?
Profile. And keep scrolling down. You should have more there too.
I know. I'm just showing some
It's
things
still
here.
it's still working. So
Yeah, there it is. So pull this from.
that's
Let me
still
see
thinking.
where the
So
link
just
is.
being mindful of time, everyone. I want to make sure that we've covered at u.com. We've had a little bit of hiccups with TikTok, but high overview. Greg, can I just ask you, why do you believe platforms like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube are essential in a modern recruitment marketing strategy? Like, and what do you recommend people, sourcers, hiring managers, companies, high level, what do you recommend they do right now to get ahead? I hear cricket.
Can you repeat that? I didn't get it.
Okay, yes, of course I can repeat that. I said, we've had a little bit of issue showing the TikTok, but from a multi-channel recruitment marketing standpoint, why do you believe platforms like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, all the AI, let's just throw all the AI in there too, in a modern recruitment strategy, what advice or what should people be doing right now to utilize these things? And that's for hiring managers, sourcers, and companies.
Well, think about this. Well, think about this. Where are people where are people going to complain about their job? Where are people going to get their voice heard? Where are people going to talk about life, right? If you're a manufacturing battery engineer, or if you're a monorail engineer, there's groups on Facebook, right? They talk about monorail stuff.
Yeah.
There's groups on Twitter. There's groups on, they watch TikToks that are related to their interests.
Mhm.
If they're into video games, they go into TikTok and Twitch and look. So that's where people are living. That's where people are communicating. So we haven't changed in that respect. We're just using different platforms. Like TikTok
Right.
became huge during the pandemic. And because of that, how they consume information has changed as well. They want short videos. And because of that, like YouTube has had to come and create shorts. You have
Mhm.
Instagram Reels.
Reels.
Twitter is not what it used to be, but now there's threads, and people don't talk about Discord and all these and Quora and Reddit. Those are still very unutilized as far as finding talent, but that's where people go to talk about this stuff. So we're better to communicate with people and talk about people than these places, because like I'm a big YouTube guy. Like I said, I can create content to attract other recruiters and sourcers to our company when we're hiring. And a lot of engineers that I talk to think that I'm an engineer because of the videos that I put on my YouTube channel. So it goes both ways. The better you understand something, the better you dive into something, the better you're gonna be able to talk to that audience. So, but that's where the future is. People aren't going to be going. I mean, people do get on LinkedIn, but not as much. Only if you're really looking for a job. But what happens if you have a very specific position looking for very specific experience, and there's maybe 5 people in the country that can do it, right?
Mhm.
You're going to have to go to some of the blogs and some of the other places. Steve and I know when we used to look for scientists, we would go to patent sites. We would go to publication sites, like research publication sites, because that's where their body of work is. The other thing is, if you're looking for somebody creative, TikTok is a great place for that as well. Behance is another place that you can go that has their full portfolio on their body of work. So it's just where you have to go and do research and find out where these people hang out, whether it's conferences, whether it's associations, whether it's internet forum, so that's the mindset that I'm always taking. You kind of have to be a private investigator. You have to go out and find where these people hang out. Like if you're looking for truck drivers, they're going to hang out in bars, right? Yeah. So that's really how I think about anything. Where do these people hang out? Where is going to be the best chance to find the smartest folks, the best folks for the job? Because what my goal is to get them an interview and get them talking to the hiring managers. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%.
Greg,
hopefully you got all that.
Greg, there's one thing that I think was a stream of consciousness that you pulled through all of it, is that you go to where the candidates are. You don't wait for the candidates to come to you.
Thank you. I've been in my mind, I've been wanting to say creating inbound leads.
You know why?
So bad. Like that
you know
is where you know why?
Because
what was that?
Well, they don't know what jobs you have. So if you have the job that perfectly aligns to their background, it takes the struggle out. It makes their job search easier, even if they're not looking for a job. So by going to the places where they are, I mean, they're just like us. They make YouTube videos. They do conferences. They're part of organizations. They're part of Facebook groups. They're people like us. We just have to know where they hang out, or find where they hang out.
And then get them, be able to open up and be yourself enough to be interesting enough for them to want to be connected to you, kind of like what I did with Brian at TA Week. So a blend of getting some in-person, online.
I have this conversation a lot. Well, a lot of people are flattered by it because, oh, you know, I did this, this, and this, and a lot of times I talked to somebody this week and they said that this is like the perfect job for me. This is what I want to be doing at my company, but they don't have anything like this at my company. I'm like, well, maybe I can help you with that because we have this job here, So it's not only that; it's about having this mindset of what are the pathways that I can find this person a job in our organization. I always say recruiting is not about elimination, it's about inclusion. So what's the best way to get this person into organization? What are the best options? What are the options that I can provide this person? Because I know they're smart. I headhunted them, I stalked them,
Speaking of inclusion,
So
I'm going to drop myself here a no shame plug because if you're in the audience and you follow me, I am all about increasing neurodiversity awareness. I am ADHD as well as a bunch of other stuff. So I recently, Steve, I shared an article yesterday on my Neuro Elite newsletter, and I want the whole world to know this because this is groundbreaking information that we need to act on now. So go over there after this and read that, because if corporate America, if the world of work doesn't get on the neurodiversity train, we're going to be effed in the next 10 years because we just really need to embrace all humans.
And what people don't understand is that if you have a lot of like-minded people and you have a lot of people that think the exact same way, it's not the best for decision making, because different perspectives, different ideas, different ways of working, different ways of thinking, that really helps increase decision making and has different perspectives. Anytime you have a different perspective that may be outside the box, well, does it streamline the process? Does it make the process better? Does it make sense? I'm always willing to take another person's idea and think about it, because I value that. I don't want to do everything the same way all the time, because a lot of times it's not efficient.
Exactly.
And that's becoming more common. So if you have someone who thinks a different way or looks at a problem a different way, that's hugely valuable. And so there's a lot of companies that like people that do everything the same way. Well, that's groupthink. That's when you have that
is
when you have a bunch of yes people doing the same thing. It's not effective because they'll just do whatever they're told. The order takers, So
yes,
you truly want to be innovative. Look at some of the stuff that we've talked about today. I mean, it takes a lot of experimentation and trial and error, right, Steve? Right, Brian?
And just having the willingness to learn and you be wanting to tinker with some of these platforms, ChatGPT 4, Notion. I know we didn't get to. I'm going to get onto Notion. I like it. I looked it up. Greg, thanks for that. I encourage everybody in the audience to look up Notion. And I think that really, to summarize before we have any questions, if you have a question, drop it in the chat right now. But to be timely, I think that the summary here is standard traditional recruitment methods are tried and true. There are other ways to implement and incorporate into your recruitment strategy. And I think for 2024, a lot of that is going to be content creation to create inbound leads. That's where I'm thinking our conversation has gone. Sourcing, we've done a lot of X-ray search, you.com. Follow Greg on TikTok. I like to say for employers, the value of getting on TikTok is that when your employees are slacking and they're not doing what they're doing, where do you think they are? They're on TikTok. Trust
I
me.
thought they were on Slack if they were slacking.
Exactly.
No, they're
Yeah.
scrolling
Look
TikTok.
up pizza parties on TikTok, and you'll
I
have a
will.
lot of negative. You have a lot of negative press around pizza parties because, yeah, it's like meme culture almost.
It
Except
is.
more immediate.
Oh yeah, and
But it's a platform. It's a resource. It's a place to find people.
and it's constantly updating, just like LinkedIn. So, there is no cheat sheet to the algorithm except for staying on your grind, really. And Brian, can you help me here? Do we
And
have any
nowadays, it's a
questions
lot
we need
easier
to
to.
address?
So we do have a question. Is Mark is asking, do you use the standard ATS template in Notion, or have you created your own, Greg Hawks?
Do I use the standard ATS? Yes. I have an ATS that I use regularly. I was actually using it to find real-time payments people the other day. But with the ATS, it doesn't. It's Workday. Doesn't really search itself very well. So you have to build that
Yeah.
search out. We also use Avature. And there's advantages and disadvantages. Like you can pull a drip campaign through Avature and things like that. But you also have to stay focused on the target and who you're reaching out to. Notion is different because you can build a website with Notion in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
I remember it took me a week
I
to
have
build
to
a
sidebar with you on
website
that.
with Wix.com. It took me a day to build the second website with Wix.com because I was more familiar with it. Took me like, I don't know, 30 minutes to build something very similar with YouTube channels and stuff like that with Notion because it's years advanced on what I had built previously. Like you didn't have to code or anything. It was pretty much you just build Notion. Notion is more of a building platform. Who was it that was using it? Somebody was using it. I think his name was Ben. Using it as like a feature page that he sends out to people for his company. So I have not used the ATS Notion, but with any ATS, there's going to be advantages and disadvantages.
And I think the question was
They're
more
all kind
around
of the same, but they're all.
Yeah, and to Mark, to your point, I think we're going to find out over the next couple of months, especially over the course of the year, is there's going to be a good amount of ATS specific templates created for those things, and I suspect there's going to be sort of kind of like a SDK for engineers. There's going to be tools like that will allow much easier creation of these things. So hang tight.
Yeah.
2024 is going to be a very interesting year on some areas of TA Tech.
Yep. And speaking of the rest of the year, I just want to say thank you so much, Greg. I know we're at time. We have our next episode of LinkedIn Unlocked. It is the first week of February, February 7th, and we have special guest Heather. I might botch her last name, Brian. Colvin.
Heather Colvin. She's
Yeah,
a good egg.
Heather.
She's a good egg.
Yep. Her and I have riffed. We could talk all day, so
So anyway, so on that notion, we're at time. Some of us we have to talk to people. We got to get people jobs. So until the next time, this is LinkedIn Unlocked. Christina, Brian, Steve, and G-Man, the sourcing IRL guru, signing off.
I'm not a guru.